avoid opening your microphone. So our lesson for this week is financial literacy. So the question is everybody capable of saving? Who among you have savings? Who among you have bank accounts where you can where you are saving your money? Okay. So these are things that we need to discuss in connection with building and enhancing new literacy across the curriculum. Because we're now moving into a fast changing world, okay, where everything needs money. Bawat kibot kailangan ng pera. Do you agree? Bawat kibot, bawat kilos,
Yes,
bawat
sir.
galaw kailangan natin ng pera. Okay? Before the amount the old people can help me here before the amount 500 pesos can be budgeted for a one whole week. Tama ba? Yung 500 piso, yung 500, okay, pwedeng i-budget ng isang linggo. But today, in this present day, 1,000 pesos ay pang 2 araw lang. Okay? Especially when you're at home. Sabi nga ng ilang mga parents, mas mahal ang mas mataas ang expenses compared to or mas mataas ang expenses now that everybody is at home compare no ang mga estudyante nasa paaralan. Okay? So, in this lesson we'll try to define what is financial literacy, assess level of personal financial literacy using set of standards and questions, characterize financial literacy in the Philippines, and start practical steps to develop personal financial literacy. In addition, I'll try to provide later on ways on how to compute our expenses based on a credit and debit system. Okay? So, what So the National Endowment for Financial Education defines financial literacy as one. It is the ability to read, analyze, manage, and communicate about the personal financial conditions that affect material well-being. It includes the ability to discern financial choices, discuss money and financial issues without or despite discomfort, plan for the future, respond competently to life events that affect everyday financial decisions, including events in the general economy. Okay. If you can remember when we define what is literacy, we simply base on basic understanding and basic definition, okay, the lowest level of identifying the literacy. We just simply define literacy as the ability to read, analyze, compute, okay? Though as easy as that. However, when we try to tackle the thought of literacy itself, we were able to find out in lesson or in chapter 1 that we are not just simply about we're not just simply about talking the ability to read, the ability to write, the ability to speak, but definitely it's the ability to understand deeper concepts. Okay, the ability to put it into action. Okay, if you can remember, one of the intriguing question before is that, or not just a question but statement or idea, that most of us, okay, most of the students nowadays would simply read questions, read thoughts, read ideas, read statements, but forgot to understand the definition, understand the meaning. Okay? Like for example, in the instruction I provided, you write your name starting with your last name, first name, and middle initial. Okay? Your answer should be italicized. Okay? You remember that in the first activity that most of your classmates, okay, answered the question. Okay? So indeed, they answered the question. But they didn't read and understand clearly the instruction given that their answer should be italicized. Okay? Right? So you remember my comment that by simply failing to understand and apply the instruction, most of you have already failed the board exam. Remember that? Maraming bumagsak, marami nang bagsak sa inyo sa board exam if ever the first activity is all about board exam. Okay? If ever the activity is all about your license. So simply saying that when we are talking about financial literacy, okay, it's not just simply your idea of what how to earn money and how to spend money, but definitely how to discern financial choices, discuss money and financial issues without or despite discomfort. Okay. Financial literacy is very crucial nowadays, especially in our situation wherein we are having this pandemic. Okay? It's very important and it's very crucial for us to identify the needs and the wants. Okay? We have to identify what are our financial resources or our financial sources. Okay? Where can we get our money? Where can we get money? How can we produce money? Okay? Not the general idea or the not the idea of we are creating money, but definitely how can we provide money for our means, for our needs. Okay? So, to put it simply, it is the ability to use knowledge and skills to manage one's financial resources effectively for lifetime financial security. If you were asked, are you financially secured? How will you answer this question? Are you financially secured? Is your family financially secured? Yeah.
No, sir.
No, yeah, definitely it's difficult to answer. You know, I had a conversation with one of my colleague, with one of my friend, wherein we're talking about satisfaction. Okay. There is an idea that was raised, and I just have to about death. It's about death. Uh, are you ready to die? The question that's a question. Um, Generally we're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. However, the point of when we are going to die and are we ready to die, okay, it's a difficult thing to answer. Why? Because people will say, I am not ready to die because I have a lot of things to satisfy. Okay, just like curiosity. When we are talking about satisfaction, people's desire for satisfying needs is endless. Okay? It's endless. The things that we want cannot be easily satisfied. Why? Because when we satisfy something, we crave for another. Okay? Is that, do you agree with that? That pag, pag napunuan natin yung isang bagay na gusto natin, we always look for other. Parang tipong, we always have questions in life, right? When we were able to find answer to this question, we'll able to see another question again. And then the cycle of seeking answer is endless. It never ends. Okay? Same with financial satisfaction. Our financial satisfaction never ends. But the general idea for Filipino family is that magkaroon lang ako ng bahay na hindi ko na binabayaran. Okay? Can provide food for my family 3 times a day. Pwede kaming kumain ng lunch, breakfast. and dinner, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and siguro may mga merienda in between. May pera pag nagkasakit, panggastos, okay? And kayang paaralin ng mga anak. So these are the four things that we have to satisfy for, let's say, a normal Filipino family. A family of two, a family of four. Mother, father, sibling one, sibling two. Okay? Or sibling one, sibling. Bali, apat lang. So for a family of four, yun yung mga basic things na kailangan nilang isatisfy. But generally, there are things, as stated in the definition, there are things that even if we planned for everything, meron yung tinatawag na biglaang dumarating. And in that thing, we are not ready. Okay? Allow me to use our statement, our opening statement when I'm selling insurance. Okay? O, diba? Nagsisell ako ng insurance. Okay? We're actually already in life. We have already planned our life. We have already our ways on how we can satisfy life. Okay, di ba? We're ready for life, actually. But there are three certain events. We are ready for any events in life. Pag-aaral, alam natin darating yan. At alam natin certain age. Halimbawa, pagdating ng 6 years old, kailangan mo magpa-aral. Pagdating ng ganito, magka-college, magka-high school, magpapakasal. Okay? So, alam na natin. But there are three events in life that we know, but we are not aware when will it come. Sickness, accident, and death. Okay? Yung nauna nating events, pagpapakasal, pag-aaral, we have planned it already eh. May plano tayo dyan. At alam natin kung saan natin huhugutin yung pagkakagastusan dyan. But these three events, sickness, accident, and death, alam natin darating but we're not aware and ready kung saan natin kukunin yung pagkakagastusan. Okay? Kaya nga pumapasok yung insurance. Now, Hastings in 2013, in his study, refers financial literacy under four circumstances. One, knowledge of financial products like stocks, bond fixed, adjustable rate mortgage. Second is knowledge of financial concepts like inflation, compounding, diversification, credit scores. Third is having the mathematical skills or numeracy necessary for effective financial decision making. And lastly, being engaged in certain activities such as financial planning. So let's go first with knowledge of financial products. Okay. Are you familiar with stocks? Have you heard stocks? Sabi,
In trading, sir.
trading, yeah. Have you heard cryptocurrency, something like that? Have you heard ang Jollibee nagbebenta ng stocks, ang BDO nagbebenta ng stocks, okay? If you are a GCash user, you can see there merong G-Invest, okay? In G-Invest, there is certain product na bibilhin mo, okay? And then you will let the people under GCash management to handle your money and spend it. Parang palalaguin, okay? Stock markets, bond fixed, okay? Bond fixed versus adjustable rate mortgage, mga binabayaran natin, mga babayarin, okay? Halimbawa, alin yung bagay na constant nating binabayaran on fixed price? Halimbawa, internet consumption or internet connectivity. Kung may internet connectivity ka, meron kang halimbawa, yung katulad sa amin, connection namin is 15 Mbps if I'm not mistaken. It's around 1,700 plus. Okay? For every month, that's fixed. Every month may ganun akong expenses. Okay? May ganun kami expenses. So that's a fixed expenses. Okay? That is your knowledge on financial products. Then the adjustable rate mortgage is like electricity. Tatandaan natin, pag December, here comes November, December, January, February, our electricity consumption bumababa. Are you aware? Sina-check nyo ba yung electricity consumption nyo? That every October, November, December, January, February, bumababa yung electricity consumption natin. Why? Because the season is cold. Okay? It's somehow winter season. So hindi tayo gano'n gumagamit ng electric fan. Tama? Unlike pagdating ng March, April, May, June, July, okay? our electricity consumption spike up, tumataas. Okay, bakit? Kasi, ano meron? It's what? Yeah, it's summertime. Okay? Since it's summertime, mataas yung consumption natin dahil halos lahat tayo may electric pan sa bawat kwarto. Okay? That's the idea of our knowledge of financial products. Next, knowledge of financial concepts. One of the general ideas is inflation. Okay? Tumataas ang bilihin, tumataas ang expenses. Before, sabi nga natin in my first statement earlier, before a 500 pesos, okay, 500 peso bill can be budgeted for one whole week expenses. Ha? Ganun kababa ang bilihin. There was a time na ang baon na 5 piso ay sumasapat na ng hanggang tanghali. Okay? Hanggang tanghali. Bakit? Kasi yung iba, 2 pesos na merienda. Okay, may pansit na, may juice pa sa 2 pesos. May natitira pang 3. Okay? Sa 3 pesos, makakakain ka na ng tanghalian. Okay? Before, for an elementary student, ha? Makakakain ka ng tanghalian sa halagang 3 pesos. Okay? But nowadays, that was, let's say, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, okay, let's say that's the idea of 30 years ago, for a 5 peso, pwede ka nang mabuhay hanggang hapon. Okay, that was 5 peso. But nowadays, 5 peso, pang 2 minutes lang. Tama? Oh, pang 2 minutes or 3 minutes. If you have experienced the landline na tawag, yung hinuhulugan, okay, coin slot na hinuhulugan na ganyan. Okay? So, ganun lang siya. Now, what is inflation? Inflation simply means our expenses, the conditions, okay, that affects our expenses every day. The monetary value 10 years ago is different from the monetary value 10 years after. Okay? Dati ang lupa nabibili mo lang na may mga lupain ka, halimbawa makakakuha ka ng 1 hektaryang lupa na nagkakahalaga ng 500, 500 peso. If you're gonna see 500 peso nowadays, ang liit lang naman pala nung lupa noon. But during those time na 500 pesos lang ang lupa, mataas na yung value na yun. So there's a difference. Now, having the mathematical skill or numeracy necessary for effective financial decision making. Like for example, our idea of what is the importance of 5% discount, 15% discount, what is the importance of rebates, okay? What are the importance of other financial terms, other financial ideas, or mathematical and numeracy skills effective for financial decision making. Alin ang bibilin mo at kailan ka bibili? Okay. Like for example, they'll say that, oh, we're on sale. A shoe is on sale for amount of 100 peso. Okay. But last week, that is still 100 peso. Right? Nilagyan lang ng sale ngayon dahil may nakasulat ng sale, mabilis siyang naubos. Okay? Why? Because the idea of mathematical skills and numeracy necessary for financial decision making and engaging in certain activities such as financial planning. Syempre, most of you have done their debut already, 'di ba? Nag-debut na yung iba. Yung iba naman saktong kain lang, ganyan, with family, okay na. Yung iba nag-party, okay? But definitely were you able to engage yourself into financial planning? Sir, what is financial planning? Let's have a recitation about your idea about financial planning. Christine Joy Irang, what is your idea about financial planning? Nag-off cam pa, oh.
Sir, financial planning, yun po yung may plano ka para sa pera mo, kung para saan yung pera na 'to, para saan yung ito, kung saan mo siya iba-budget, sir.
Okay. Saan mo siya dadalhin? Paano mo siya okay, are you going to invest? Something like that. That's good. Public and private institutions alike have recognized the need for financial literacy. Okay? One of the training that they are providing right now is financial literacy. Why? Because many of us doesn't know how to spend our money wisely. Okay? So that's the reason why financial education and advocacy programs of the public and private sectors have been identified as key areas in building and improving financial system in the Philippines. Bakit? Marami kasi sa atin ng they're actually living to pay debt. Marami sa atin ang nabubuhay para magbayad lang ng utang. Okay? Nowadays, our government is actually in a big debt. Okay? Malaking kautangan. Tayo ay may pagkakautang. And we just had 10 trillion debts, okay, recently. 10 trillion. Malaki na ba ang 1,000? Kung malaki na ang 1,000, paano pa ang 10,000? Kung malaki na ang 10,000, paano pa ang 100,000? Okay? If 100,000 is big, how much is 1 million? And then how much is 1 trillion? Okay? So that's how big our debt is. Now, RA 10922, otherwise known as the Economic and Financial Literacy Act, mandates DepEd to ensure that economic and financial education becomes an integral part of formal learning. You know, in my in one of my major subject for ED, we discuss and tackle about family budget. Okay, family budget, credit, debit. Okay, the supply and demand, the law of supply and the law of demand. Okay. The Council for Economic Education, the leading organization in the United States, this is based on US, okay, focuses on the economic and financial education of students from kindergarten through high school, develops 6 standards gearing toward deepening student understanding. So what are the standard key concepts? And okay, so they have summarized it. 1, earning income. Kumikita raw, sumasahod. So what are the key concepts under earning income standard? Income earned or received by people. Okay? So what is earned and what is either earned or received. Okay? Kinita mo or binigay sa'yo. Different types of job as well as different forms of income earned or received. Like for example, there are instances of income earned by hard labor. Ay, mga karpentero, mga laborers natin, and farmers. Okay. Benefits and costs of increasing income through the acquisition of education and skills. Government programs that affect income, types of income and taxes, and labor market. Magpreno lang, sabihin nyo lang preno ha kung masyado ako mabilis ha, or kung may hindi kayo maintindihan, sabihin nyo sa akin para balikan natin. Earning income. I would like to emphasize government programs that affect income. Recently, okay, 3 years or 4 years ago, when train law, okay, are you familiar with train law?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. When train law was enacted into law. Okay. Ang sabi sa train law, those who are earning 25,000 below month, 25 or 24 something, 24,000 below monthly will be exempted in paying income tax. Diba? So, is it good? Maganda ba 'yan? You will be exempted from paying your income tax? Yes, maganda ang ma-exempt from paying your income tax. Okay? However, in exchange of increasing the VAT, increasing value-added tax. So, for a minimum wage earner earning around, let's say, 24,000 a month, he will save at least around 3,000. So let's have a computation. Let me have a computation about. Para makita natin. Let's try if Google Sheet can give us a computation for it. So if a person, if a person earns, let's say, 24,000, okay, and for 12 months, continuous kumikita. Okay? So let's say an individual has a 24,000 times 12 months. So we have 288,000 pesos. Annual income yan. Okay? That's what we call annual income. Sa isang taon yan yon. Of course, aside from the payment for yung 24,000, hindi pa linis yan. We have SSS, PhilHealth, the general private employee. Pag-ibig, buti siya may pag-ibig. Yan. And of course, we have bills. Mga bills natin. So definitely 288,000 is, you know, a big amount kung minsanan. But acquired annually, medyo mababa lang din siya. Kasi 12,000 o 24,000, maglinis ka ng, let's say, here are the expenses. So you have an idea of how we compute expenses in life. SSS, PhilHealth, pag-ibig, bills, food, medicine. Okay. So, sa isang buwan, this is what we for an SSS, a regular employee, 24,000, we have 100 pesos. Okay. Kasi 200 pesos ang minimum, 100 pesos sa employer, 100 pesos sa empleyado. PhilHealth, 100 din. For pag-ibig, let's say, a monthly would be 300. Okay. Of course, kung ikaw ay, sabihin natin, may sarili kang bahay, no? May sarili kang bahay. May sarili kayong bahay. Ikaw ay nakatira para sa magulang mo. Kabayad ng kuryente, let's say, minimum 1,000. Food, let's have a budget of food. Okay. This is for 4 weeks. Okay, so magkano ang aabutin ng food for 4 weeks? Let's say you have 350 expenses times 7, 14, 21, 28 days. So that would be 9,800. Ano pala? 350 is for ano lang. So let's say you have expenses of 500 or 600 pesos per day for the food of the family for 28 days. So that would be 16,800. Okay. If we're gonna less this one to 24,000, let's say 24,000 less 16,800 less 100 less 100 less 300 less 1,000, that would be 5,700 na lang na natitira. Okay? So 5,700 pesos matitira mo sa isang buwan. Meron ka pang medicine and other expenses like loads. Okay? Kung may jowa ka pa, bayad pa ng internet. Okay? Bayad pa ng lipstick, kung ano ba babae. Okay? O kaya naman ng Natasha. Okay?
Pamasahe, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much, How. Transportation, wala pa pala. O, di ba? So, yan yung pagkakasya mo sa 5,700. Now, the general idea is that kung meron pa dyan yung tax, okay, na magkakahalaga, let's say, ng magbabayad tayo ng income tax, let's say 300 monthly. Okay? Malaki. Okay? So what I'm trying to point out is that's how we compute things. Now, para sa mga may hirap, for those who earn below minimum, na sumasahod lang ng arawan, sabihin natin ang arawan ng isang isang trabahador sa construction ay 500, well experienced laborer na yan, times ilang araw lang trabaho, 540, 5 beses sa 5 araw sa isang linggo times 4, that would be 20. So kumikita lang ng 10,000 sa isang buwan. Okay?
Pahirap ng
These people who are earning 10,000 below the minimum wage, kasi ang minimum wage natin ngayon ay nasa 380 pesos per day. Okay?
85, sir.
That's
85.
385 ba?
Opo.
Provincial rate?
Opo.
385 times 20.
7.
Oh. Yan. Yan yung minimum wage sa probinsya. Okay? Ito, maswerte pa to, laborer to na well-experienced, no? So what I'm trying to point out, these minimum wage earner, even before the implementation of train law, hindi na nagbabayad ng tax. Okay? So sa kanila, yung train law walang effect. Tama? Tama ba? Wala sa kanilang effect. But the problem is, yung binibili nila nag-increase. Tumaas. Okay? Yung, let's say, para sa 5,700, meron kang 3,000 na 3,000. Yung 3,000 expenses mo for food for 1 month before train law, sakto lang. But after train law, dahil nag-increase, let's say itong 3,000 ay may increase na 0.12. Okay? So nag-increase ng 3,360 pesos yung binibili niya. Mula dun sa kakapuranggit niya na hindi naman tumaas yung sahod niya. So that's the effect of train law. Siyempre, kailangan niya naman ng pera ng gobyerno, kailangan daanin. The taxes that we are paying are the reasons why the government is running. Okay? The taxes that we are paying, the money that we are spending is the reason why our government is running. Next, buying goods and services. Another standard is buying goods and services. What are the key points? Scarcity, choice, and opportunity cost. Factors that influence spending choices such as advertising, peer pressure, and spending choices of others. 1. Scarcity, choice, and opportunity cost. There is what we call, is it here? Yeah, there is what we call the supply and demand. You're familiar with supply and demand because you have your economics lesson in your high school and even way back in your senior high school. Those who have senior high school. The law of supply and demand, the higher and of course, the law of supply and demand is relative to the law of shortage and the law of surplus. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The higher the demand, the lower the supply is, then there will be what?
Inflation.
Yes, Kuya Jumedes, what's that? I see you mumbling.
Sir, scarcity.
Correct. Okay. That's correct. Thank you. The higher the demand and the lower the supply, there would be shortage. Now, here comes the higher the supply, the lower the demand, will have, Eliza. The higher the supply, the lower the demand will have will have shortage, ay surplus. 'Di ba? Kaya nga may mga surplus shop, 'di ba? Mga sobra. Okay? Tingnan nyo, pag panahon pag panahon ng, let's say, mangga. Pag panahon ng mangga, ang presyo ng mangga nagiging 10 piso isang kilo. 5 piso isang kilo. Tama?
Yes, sir.
But pag hindi siya panahon, a price of a mango can hike or can spike up to 50 pesos per kilo. Right?
Yes.
So that's how law of supply and demand works and the shortage and surplus. Factors that that influence spending. Mga bagay daw na nakakapekto sa ating pagbili ng mga produkto. 1, sino ang endorser? Pag gwapo ang endorser, pag maganda ang endorser, bili tayo. Tama? Tama ba? Pagkakilala, halimbawa, ang endorser ay Lee Min Ho. Okay? Kung si Lee Min Ho ang endorser, bili ng product. Nood ng product. Okay? Another is that, ginagamit ng mga classmate ko ito. Lahat ng classmate ko naka lip tint. Okay? Kailangan mag-lip tint din ako. Bibili ako ng lip tint para may Korean chick akong ganyan. Tama? Kasi si Cristel naka-Korean kasama si Umani, 'di ba? Oh. Dahil naka-Korean chick sila, dapat lahat naka-Korean chick. So bibili ka, ha? And of course, the spending choices of others. Comparing the cost and benefits of spending decisions. Meron naman yung mga tipong talagang nag-iisip na kailangan ko ba 'to? May tutulong ba sa buhay ko ito? If not, I don't buy it, 'di ba? Then basic budgeting and planning. Of course, sa basic budgeting and planning, we always go with spend. Is income less expenses. Okay, laging ganon. Income less expenses is equals to savings. Ganun yung nangyayari. Then making a spending decision, anong mas gusto? Kakain na lang ba tayo sa labas o magluto na lang tayo? Anong mas makakamura? 'Di ba? Sa panahon ngayon, yung 100 piso para bumili ng isang order ng karne sa karinderya, okay, ay mas wise kaysa magluto. Tama? Ng karne. Tama ba?
Yes po.
Oo.
Yes, sir.
Kasi yung
Yes,
100 piso na karneng binili mo sa karinderya, luto na yan. May sahog na yan. May lasa na yan. Unlike pag bibili ka halimbawa, compare your 100 peso buying food to cook. Kung gusto mo ng karne, kulang ang 100. Pwede, 100. Makakabili ka ng karne, pero wala pang sahog. Wala pang panglasa. 'Di ba? So nowadays, sabi nga nila, mas magandang bumili nila ng ulam kaysa magluto ng ulam. Kasi mas magastos. Payment methods, okay? Anong mas gusto? Cash? Installment? Home credit ba ito? Na laging tumatawag? 'Di ba? Who among you have experienced to get a product using home credit?
Ako po, sir.
Then of course, that's the general idea. Kasi minsan, if we have the options to pay it whole or pay it partially, we tend to pay it partially. Why? Kasi pag binayaran mo ng buo, diretso na yan. Ano ba, 67,000. O 67,000, paluwal mo na, diretso yan. Eh bigla may expenses ka. Di ba? Hindi mo na mabibili yung iba pa kasi binayad mo na doon sa isang gusto mo. So mag-iipon ka uli. Unlike pag installment, tinuruan, okay? Pag installment, yung iba kasi nakakapag-budget, sige muna, kung may 67,000 budget ako, ibabayad ko muna 30,000. 37,000 ipupuhunan ko muna. Okay? Para may umiikot na pera araw-araw. Diba? And then, syempre, pag yung 37,000 umiikot na pera araw-araw, meron akong pambayad buwan-buwan dun sa natitirang 37,000 ng product na binili ko. So these affects our decision in buying goods and services. 'Di ba? Kailan tayo bibili pag may discount na? Nasa Lazada 'yan, 'di ba? Lazada sales discount, yung katatapos nilang birthday sale. 'Di ba? Why? Those are reason that affects us when to buy goods and services. Then satisfaction determinants of demand, cost of information, choice of product durability, alin ang mas matibay. Okay? You know, I have a story. My brother, okay? Sige, ikwento ko yung brother. Ilaglag ko yung kapatid ko. You know, my brother bought a knife through Lazada. Online. It's a good catch. Why? Because it's an 8-knife set in one for a cost of 200 pesos. Di ba? And the brand is Miracle. It's a Miracle brand knife is actually a very, very good brand of knife. Okay? Ganda siya. He was generally amused with the price and discounts and everything. So, he bought it. Add to cart. Then when he received the product, only to find out that the product is not actually Miracle, but Me-Buckle. Yung R pala, hindi R, it's B. Okay, so that's how things go. So, when we choose product, we always go with, ano bang mas matibay, Samsung or Oppo? Ano mas maganda, Oppo or Huawei? Di ba? Huawei or Vivo, something like that. We always tend to, ang Vivo, ganito, maganda ang camera. Ang Huawei, maganda ang features na ganito. Ang Samsung, pang ganito. Ang ganito, ganyan. So, we always have the choices of, or we have the idea of identifying what are the pros and cons of the products when we buy goods. Okay? And then, of course, the role of government and other institutions in providing information for consumers. Hopefully, we had time to discuss about the way how people being lured to commercials, okay, bandwagon and everything. And of course, we have another standard. We have saving. So what are the first? What is the first standard that we have? We have
Earning income. Earning income, sir.
Earning income followed by
Buying goods and services.
buying goods and services, and then saving. Here comes saving. This is very important, saving, because the way we spend right now our money is very, very, let's say, uncompromising. Uncompromising. Medyo hindi maganda. So, concept of saving and interest. Are we familiar with saving and interest? When we save something, there is an interest. Okay? How people save money, where people can save money, and why people save money. Later on, bebenta ko kayo ng insurance. Charot. Okay. Mamaya magpa-product presentation po ako. If ever you're interested to, you can chat me later on. Ha? Pag-usapan natin ang future mo. Then, the role that financial institution plays as intermediaries between savers and borrowers. The role of government agencies such as the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation play in protecting savings deposit. Role of markets in determining interest rates. The mathematics of saving, the power of compound interest, real versus nominal interest, present versus future value, financial regulators, the factors determining the value of a person's saving over time, automatic saving plans like rainy day funds and or saving for retirement. Okay, let's go with there. Yeah. So let's go with how we do things right now. Okay. So most of us would go with, is my presentation clear on your side? Hindi siya blurred.
Clear.
Clear siya. Thank you so much. So most of the thing that we do when we spend, okay, is that we have this formula in mind. Okay. When we're talking about saving, income, and expenses. So a very impractical one, that the common thing that we're using or doing right now, which is considered somehow impractical, is that income less expenses is equals to savings. Let's go back on the first slide, on the first sheet. So after these all expenses, let's say, for loads, weekly load, sabihin natin yung Gano ba? 90 pesos na internet. Okay. Ay, no. 400 peso load, pang tawag, pang text. Okay. Internet, let's say merong 1,000 budget for internet sa family. Syempre, for transportation, let's say you have 2,000 pesos. So, 5,700 less 400 less 1,000 less 2,000. So, we only have 2,300. Okay. 2,300 pesos for. Actually, hindi pa pwede yan. Okay, why? Kasi, let's say, nagbabudget ka dyan, yung 2,300 mo, laging nakaalis dyan 1,000 for medicine. So, all in all, ang ginagamit mo lang na pang saving ay 1,300. Okay? So, monthly. Saving mo yan. Okay. So, ganyan nangyayari. Bakit? Kasi inuuna natin ito. Inuuna ito as the food and other things. But, the wise way on how to spend money right now is saving income less savings is equal to expenses. Sir, anong ibig sabihin yan? If we put saving first before we spend money, okay, we will be forced to, like for example, if we have, how much is the salary earlier? It's 12,400, right? If we automatically deduct, let's say your insurance policy for month is 2,500. So you'll only have 21,500 for expenses. Let's, syempre, alisin natin dyan itong 1,500. Okay? Less 1,500.
Ay!
So we only have 20,000 to spend. So itong 20,000 na ito, okay? Let's say this would be for insurance. Insurance or investment. So yung 20,000 na yan, yan lang yung perang pagkakasyahin mo sa expenses. So automatically nagsisave ka ng 2,500. So hindi mo poproblemahin ng insurance or investment mo. And then ang poproblemahin mo na lang ngayon ay pagkakasyahin yung 20,000 pesos for the month. So you'll have to identify the idea of what is need or the difference between what is need and what is want. So what are the essential needs? Of course, food, medicine, transpo, okay? Transportation for the meantime. Gusto mo ng Natasha, gusto mo ng fast food, okay? Gusto mo kumain sa labas and other things. Okay? So with this idea, mas makakatipid tayo makakaisip tayo on how we will make tipid, diba? How we will save, paano tayo magtitipid ng expenses natin. Are you still with me? Are you still with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So that's the
sir.
idea.
Yes, sir.
So what is the concept of saving and interest? You know, what is the good of saving in bank or saving or getting an insurance or an investment rather than saving in bank? You know, in banks, they only have at least 1.8 to 1.9% increase per annum. So imagine if you have 2,500 pesos saving per month, 2,500 times 12, that would be 30,000, right?
Yes.
Kung dadalhin mo yan sa bangko, 30,000 times 0.18, sa isang taon, ang kinita lang ng 30,000 mo ay 540. Okay?
Baba.
Correct. Unlike sa investment or sa insurance, your 30,000 i-multiply natin sa 10 years. Okay? So 30,000
Yes.
Times 10, 1. Okay. Sorry, mali ako. Times 10 would be 300,000 times so, sa 10 taon, pag nagtuloy-tuloy tayo, yung 300,000 natin, kumita lang ng 5,400. Okay?
Mas mataas.
Ha? Mababa, mataas?
Mataas po.
Mataas. 10 taon, no? So, ibig sabihin, ang kinita ng pera natin is 300,000, 5,400. Ano ba? Yeah. Okay. Let's go naman sa insurance. Okay. Yung 30,000 for 10 years, okay, ay pwedeng kumita ng, let's say, 10%.
Pwede ka doon. Matan. Basic.
So let's add it. Alin ang mas mataas? Bangko or insurance?
Insurance.
Insurance.
Correct.
Kaya mag-insurance na kayo, guys.
Oh. Why? May mga perks pa yan. Yung 30, this can be the general 10%. Eh kung halimbawa mataas ang stocks, mataas ang bilihan ng stock, this 330,000 can go with 420,000 after 10 years. So yung 30,000 mo, okay, after 4 years, after 10 years, pwedeng maging 420,000. Aside from the top up niyang 420,000 mo, meron kang 600,000 na death insurance. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Ito yung mga tops up. Okay? Kung bakit mas magandang mag-insurance kaysa mag-bangko. Okay? Kasi, if ever, sabi nga natin, yung kanina, 3 events in life na hindi natin, alam natin na merong sickness, may accident, may death. Pero ang tanong, sinong gagastos? Diba? Sinong gagastos? But if you have investment, if you have insurance, wala ka ng problema sa gastos ng sickness, ng accident, at ng death. At pag nawala ka pa kung sakali, meron pang marireceive na pera ang pamilya mo. Do you like that?
Yes,
Diba?
sir.
That's what we call stability. Okay? Stability. Ang nangyayari ngayon kasi, let me just show you, let me have a whiteboard. A board. Where's the board right now? Wala akong board. The idea ngayon is let me just share you an idea of the importance of this one. This is nanay, this is tatay, this is nanay. Okay? And then of course, in between are the children. Okay? So si nanay at si tatay, salo-salo ang expenses. Okay? Yan. So, for the entire life na nabubuhay kayo, sila ang sumasalo ng expenses. Eh, what if si tatay biglang nawala? Diba? Kaya ba ni nanay yung bigat ng expenses? No. Okay? Not unlike if tatay or nanay, if tatay and nanay has the savings or insurance, okay? Insurance would be the, alam mo yun, pader, ay yung yung stand
Pillar.
na humahawak ng expenses. So anything that happens will, there's something na pagkukunan. So, going back to the idea of this explanation, let me just erase this one. We never know what will happen 10 years from now. Right? We never know what will happen 10 years from now. That's the reason why we always tend to plan. Okay? So that's how things works right now. So the power of compound interest, sa balo pag umuutang tayo, anong mas maganda? Okay? Yun yung mga iniisip natin. Saan natin dadali ng pera natin? Sa bangko ba na 1 point per annum lang ang increase? Or pwedeng lumaki yung pera natin sa investment via investing into stocks, into fixed fund, okay? Something like that. Using credit. Concept of credit and the cost of using credit. Utang. If you can remember, under Article 3, Article 3 of Bill of Rights, 1987 Philippine Constitution, Bill of Rights, section, what section is that?
20, sir, no person shall be imprisoned of debt.
Correct.
And
Diba? No person shall be imprisoned of debt. Ibig sabihin, walang taong nakukulong ng utang. Pero maliban kung estafa yan, ha? Iba yung estafa. Okay? Yung estafa, itinakbo mo yung pera. Okay? Why? What's the reason bakit walang nakukulong tungkol sa utang? Simply because the idea of the court or the idea of our justice system is that kaya siyang i-liquidate. Ibig sabihin, kayang makuha yung utang via liquidating your properties. Ibenta yung TV mo, ibenta yung bahay mo, at mababayaran mo yung pinagkautangan mo. Ganun yung process niya. Okay? Pero pag halimbawa may kasunduan, like for example, may sa credit corporation, may pinirmahan ka, yun, pwede ka nilang habulin kasi may contract kayo. Okay? So, ganun yung nangyayari. Now, why people use credit and the sources of credit, why interest rates vary across borrowers, basic calculation related to borrowing, principal, interest, and compound interest. Credit reports and credit scores. Behaviors that contribute to strong credit reports and scores, impact of credit reports and scores on consumers, and consumer protection laws. Entering into loans, entering into credits is tricky. Why? Because there are certain portion in the contract of the creditor, okay, that is somehow unfair for the creditee, yung umuutang. Okay? For the debtor, I should say. So, what is the credit and cost of using? Ano bang important na maganda sa pangungutang? Pag umuutang ka kasi at you have the opportunity to pay it installment, gaya na sinabi ko kanina sa home credit, okay? You buy time, bumibili ka ng oras para you allocate your budget, you allocate your money to other significant important matters. Yung nga sabi natin kanina, pwede mong i-invest yung ibang mong pera habang pinapalago mo, nagbabayad ka ng utang mo. Okay? At least mayroon ka pang pinapagalaw. Unlike pag halimbawa, binili mo na siya ng diretsyo, you have to again save for another, let's say 10 months before you can spend another thing bago ka makabili ng panibago. Okay? Now, what is the good effect of credit reports and credit scores? Credit reports, pag may halimbawa, ikaw ay identified as good payer, okay, you will receive offers just like me.
Cash loan.
Yeah. Sa cash loan, halimbawa sa cash loan ng home credit, okay? Since ever since I started buying materials, okay, using home credit, thank God naman kahit paano up to date, and I hope I'll still be able to continue that kind of attitude. I haven't delayed any payment. Wala akong na-delay na payment. So, definitely, I am not a delinquent payer or I'm not a delinquent creditor. Okay? So, hindi ako a debtor, I should say. Maganda yung track record ko ng payment. So, that's a good thing. And because of that, I have a lot of cash offers. Okay? Yung sasabi ni Roma, no, pwede ka magkaroon ng cash offer worthing 100,000, 150,000, even 250,000 because you have a good credit report. You have a good credit scores. Okay? Paano naman sir pag halimbawa delinquent payment ako o delinquent payee ako? Okay? You can still pay your debt, babayaran mo pa rin 'yon, no? Pero after ng debt mo, after mabayaran mo yung utang mo, you'll now have problem in taking loans to other corporation. Mahihirapan ka nang kumuha ng loan sa iba namang kumpanya. Why? Because of the sharing of information act, something like that ngayon, lalo sa mga nagpapautang. Sineshare nila lahat yun. Halimbawa, si Roma nagpapautang, si Julian nagpapautang, si Wenely nagpapautang, si Bartolome nagpapautang. Tapos, ako umutang kay Roma. Okay? Since I have a good record with Roma, pag pumunta ako kay Julian na umutang, i-check niya yung pangalan ko sa database ng mga mangungutang at
May
makikita
mga
niya yung
connection
pangalan
sa
ko ay
sir kapag
magandang
ganun.
magaling magbayad. Pauutangin ako ni Julian. Okay? Pero halimbawa, if ever si Cedric, delinquent payer si Cedric, pumutang siya kay Bartolome, okay? Meron siyang balda or halimbawa, na-delay yung payment niya ng 2 months. Pag umutang siya ngayon kay Wena, kay Julian, tsaka kay Roma, makikita nila kung ano yung record ni Cedric. So, doon magiging decision kung pauutangin ba nila o hindi. So, that's the idea of credit. Magandang umutang, mahirap pag nagkaroon ka ng record sa pag-utang. Why? Because you lose trust. Di ba, Lloyd? Hep, hep!
Hooray!
Yes!
Hooray!
Of course, that's using credit. And then,
Hooray!
financial investing. So, yung sinasabi natin, financial investment, kanina pa natin ito nababanggit, no? Concept of financial investment, variety of possible financial investment, calculate rates of return, relevance and calculation of real and after-tax rates of return, how markets cost rates or return to change in response to variation in risk and maturity, and how financial markets reacts to changes in market conditions and information. Sabi natin kanina dito, okay, if ever, so this is 10%, okay, if ever na halimbawa maganda yung market, sabi ko nga kanina, pwedeng pumalo ng 420,000 yung kita mo sa savings or sa investment mo. Pag sakto lang, yan lang, 30,000 lang. Pag medyo hindi maganda yung kita ng investment or ng insurance company, ang pinakamababa nating kitain dyan ay 4%. So, meron tayong okay. 312,000 pesos na kinita. Okay? Yan yung inam ng ng investment. So let's say this is 6%. Kasi merong high low yan eh. High low risk yung sinasabi nila. Okay? So, ganyan nangyayari pag halimbawa doon tayo sa sinasabi nilang market rates of return to change in response to variation in risk and maturity. Depende sa kung anong sitwasyon ng market, depende sa kung anong sitwasyon ng stocks. Okay? Kaya dyan nagdidepende yung mga kinikita natin sa financial investing. Halimbawa, ikaw ay nagtayo ng karinderya or ng tindahan. When we talk about financial investing, yung pagtatayo mo ng tindahan, that is already investing. Okay? And you don't expect an ROI or return of investment after 1 week. Hindi. Okay? So, an idea would be after 6 months or after 1 year. Titingnan mo, kung yung kinita mo mula sa investment mong 30,000, ilan lang na bumalik? Okay? So, ganun siya. Sir, may tendency ba na halimbawa yung 30,000 maibalik within 1 year? Yes, of course. Pero ang tanong, kung magkano yung kikitain ng 30,000 na yun within a year. Diba? Like for example, pwedeng kumita yung 30,000 mo ng 100%, pwede rin siyang kumita ng 50%, pwede lang siyang din kumita ng 10% or 5%, depending on the situation. Halimbawa, tulad ngayon, may pandemya, di ba? Ilang buwan na lockdown. Ilang buwang na isara yung tindahan mo na hindi kumita. So this is the idea. Those are the factors about financial investing. And then, of course, protecting and insuring. Concept of financial risk and loss, insurance, transfer of risk through risk pooling, managing risk, identity theft, life insurance products, and how to protect oneself against identity theft. Okay. So, what are the 6 standards under
Sir.
US? We have
Earning income, buying
Earning
goods and
income.
services, savings, using credit, financial investing, protecting and insuring.
Correct. Those are the 12 standards. So what are the benefits of financial literacy? Ayan. Ano ba meron? Siyempre, pag halimbawa, you have financial literacy or you're financial literate, okay, you'll have an increased personal financial literacy. And then, therefore, this changes behavior in pay dividends, society as well. People who work, spend, save, borrow, invest, and manage this wisely are less likely to require a government rescue. Okay? Financial literacy does not totally eliminate the need for a social safety net because even the most prudent individual can encounter financial difficulties. Sabi nga natin, kahit yung pinakamatipid, no? Kahit na yung kumbaga parang sabi nga natin sa Ilocano, kuripot. Okay? Pinaka-kuripot ay nagkakaroon din ng financial problem. Lahat tayo dumarating sa stage na nagkakaroon tayo ng financial problem. But the point is, how ready or how knowledgeable are we in managing this financial problem? Okay? Kada ba magkakaroon tayo ng problema sa pera, tatakbo tayo kay Tambunting? O dili kaya naman sa mga pawn shop? O dili kaya kay best friend? Kay amigo? Di ba? Kay Bombay? Okay? So, what is our knowledge financially? What is, how knowledgeable are we in managing our finances, I should say? Okay? So, financial literacy in the Philippines, in his article, State of Financial Education in Philippines, indicated several findings. One, so here are the findings of the research. Okay? World Bank study in 2014 estimated 20 million Filipinos save money but only half had bank accounts. Okay? Kumbaga parang 20 million sa ating mga Pinoy nag-iipon naman. Okay? Pero nasa 10 million lang ang may bank account. Ibig sabihin, nag-ipon nga, saan din nila inipon? Di ba? So, ibig sabihin, sa 20 million, 10 milyong tao lang ang talagang yung pera nila na ilalagay nila ng tama sa bangko. Asan yung 10 milyon na iba? Okay? Asian Development Bank study in 2015 revealed that Philippines does not have a national strategy for financial education and literacy. So, kulang na kulang talaga. Parang halimbawa sabi nga nila, marami sa atin gustong pumayat, tama? Okay? Those who would like to get thin, especially yung mga sexing tulad ko. But one problem is that we always lean on diet. Okay? But do you know, there are so many diet fads. But one problem is that we Filipinos tend to diet, but the problem is that we are not taught how to eat properly. Okay? Hindi tayo naturuan kung paano kumain ng tama. Like for example, what would be our option? What would be our choice? Are we rather to choose 2 kilos of pork rather than 2 pieces of let's say 5 slices of pork chop over 1 slice of 1 fish and sweet potato? Di ba? Alin ang mas nakakabusog din doon? Or halimbawa, anong mas gusto mong kainin? Burger or kamote? Alin ang mas mabigat doon? Siyempre, burger yung gusto mo. Pero yung mas mabigat na nakakabusog, kamote. Diba? Mas mababa pa yung calorie content tsaka yung carb content niya compared to burger. So yun yung idea na, oo nga no, gusto natin diet, hindi ako kakain ng 5 araw. Hindi mas lalong tumaas yung cravings mo na kumain kasi yung sugar level mo mataas.
Parang Ate Julie.
Julie, sinasabi ni Roma.
Julie daw.
Parang Sedi.
Steady.
Ready, react. Diba? Kaway-kaway. Okay.
Kahapon lang nag-chowking, Ate Julie.
In 2016, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas released the National Strategy for Financial Inclusion stating that while institutions strive to broaden financial services, financial literacy should also complement such initiatives. As per Standard and Poor's rating service survey last year, only 25% of Filipinos are financially literate. This means about 75 million Filipinos have no idea about inflation, risk diversification, insurance, compound interest, and bank savings. Ito yung sinasabi natin. Alin ang mas kailangan mo at alin ang mas gusto mo? Would you rather buy a car that 5 years from now magde-depreciate ang value? Or would you rather buy investment that 5 years from now there is a 60% tendency that it's either you'll get the same investment or you'll increase your investment?
Parang concern, ano yun yung difference ng car, pagbili mo ng car tsaka pagbili mo ng lote?
Correct. Tama yan. Thank you so much, Roma, for that good example. Which is much better? Buying car or buying a lot? Bumili ka ng kotse o bumili ka ng lupa? Okay?
Lupa, sir.
5 years from now, your kotse, magde-depreciate yung value niyan. Yung 1.5 million na bili mo sa kotse mo, after 5 years, hindi mo na may bebenta yan ng 1.5. Pinakamataas na dyan, 900,000.
Magastos pa kapag nasira.
Correct. Kasi every month, meron kang repair. Every month, meron kang maintenance. Unlike sa lupa, kahit bangkag yan, okay, yung bili mo ngayon na 1.5 na lupa sa bangkag, after 5 years, it will not remain 1.5, even it's bangkag.
Pwede pagtaniman, sir.
Habang tumatagal ka, kumikita ka every month habang naghihintay ka ng bibili. So that's the idea of, the idea of inflation, the idea of financial literacy. Kung alin ang mas dapat, alin ang dapat bilhin, alin ang compound interest and bank saving. 10 years after the discovery of the stock market, still less than 1% of Philippine population is invested in it. Okay? Then more than 80% of the working middle class have no formal financial plan. So that's the idea. Because of these findings, public and private sectors alike have recognized the need to strengthen financial education in the country. Okay, so last November 27, 2018, more than 1,000 leaders, decision makers, influencers, and representatives from public and private institutions, civic society, and academia gathered for the first ever financial education stakeholders expo organized by BSP. So there is a need for us to, invest. Okay? So the expo is designed to build an organized network of players that share the vision of financial literate citizenry and cohesively implement a variety of initiatives to achieve this vision. So it is the BSP's conviction that a financial educated Filipino is an empowered Filipino who is able to make wise financial decisions that positively impact personal financial circumstances and consequently contribute to inclusive and sustained economic development. So the Expo supports RA 10922, which designates second week of November as Economic and Financial Literacy Week. Yeah. So let's try to identify the 6 major characteristics in how people view money. 1, frugal. Okay, ano yung frugal? Michael, ano yung frugal?
Frugal.
Matipid in Tagalog.
Report.
Matipid. Kumbaga, alam mo yung kukuha ng pera, kailangan pang tiyanin. Sinachani pa yung pera. Ganon. Frugal people
Madamot
seek
yung
financial
charot.
security by living below their means and saving money. Okay? They rarely buy luxurious items. They save money instead. They save money because they believe that money will offer protection from unprecedented events and expenses. So yun yun, frugal. Pleasure. Pleasure seekers use money to bring pleasure to themselves and to others. They are more likely to spend than to save. They often live beyond their means and spend more than they earn. If they are not careful and do not change, they may fall into deep debt. Ito naman, pleasure. Ito yung mga one-day millionaire. Ang sahod niya ay 10,000, pero ang expenses niya 15,000. Have you watched Kimi Dora?
Yes, sir. I love it so much.
Yes, sir.
Nung tinanong niyo, what is your, dun sa isang babae na nakita niyang kapareho ng damit niya, what is your position in my company? Executive assistant to the Chuba ma'am. And how much is your salary? Ay, hindi, parang tipong, what is your position? Yun ang sinabi niya. And then, you're fired. Ma'am, why? Ayoko ng mga taong gumagastos ng sobra pa sa kanilang kinikita. So that's the pleasure people. Kumbaga parang they tend to pleasure themselves by buying goods, by buying products, rather than saving money. Status. Some people use money to express their social status. They like to purchase and show off their branded items. Yung tipo mga tao na, ang damit ko ay Versace. 'Di ba? Folded and hang. Okay? Chanel. Yan ang mga damit ko, mga ganon. These are status people who see money as a status. Indifference. Some people place very little importance on having money and would rather grow their own food and craft their own clothes. It is as if having too much money makes them nervous and uncomfortable. Okay? Ito naman yung mga tao na they don't actually value money. Okay? What they need is being stable in what they're doing. Parang mas maganda na lang na kitain ko, kumbaga gumawa ako ng sarili kong damit, magtahi na lang ako, magtanim na lang ako ng pagkain, hindi kailangan ng pera. Okay? Those are indifference. Then powerful people use money to express power or control over others. Ayan. Marami dito yung mga sorry to say, pero marami sa kanila mga politiko. Diba? Mga mayayaman na umaapak sa karapatan ng mga mahihirap at dukha. Grace, don't you worry. Hayaan mo, wala silang Sabi ko nga yung mga walang partner dyan, yung mga hindi pumapasok yung mga partner, so pasensyahan na lang tayo. Bagsakan na lang, ganun. Okay? So, self-worth. People who spend money for self-worth value how much they accumulate and tend to judge others based on the amount of money they have. Ito naman yung tipong, okay, best friend kita kasi meron kang you have, meron kang 20,000 sa ATM mo for today lang. So, you're my friend. You're my friend lower than her kasi your bank account is only 5,000. So you cannot buy fraps sa Starbucks, Ganon. So these are self-worth people. You're my friend kasi we have the same bank account. 50,000 for today lang. My dad just gave me 50,000 just to spend it for today. Yeah. So, sige, let's be friends. Yung ganon, Diyos ko, ang sarap sipain. So, those are what we call self-worth. Self-worth.
Gold digger.
Masyado. Siguro ano lang. Let's say power trip or parayag. Which characteristic closely resembles your attitude about money? Explain your answer. Then, so yeah, you'll have one activity na. Spending patterns. Are you prudent or have you been accused of spending money lavishly? Sino rito yung gumagastos lang ng sapat lang, medyo-medyo, ganyan. Sino naman dito yung, hindi, pera lang yan. Let's spend money and enjoy everything right now. Diba? Parang tipong, napanood niyo yung hindi, napanood. Nakita niyo na yung picture ni Jacqueline Jose. Yung tipong kumakain siya ng fishball. Yung mga memes na one day before salary. Pecha de peligro. And then a day after salary, diba, nakabongga siya mayaman na sa restaurant. Okay. The question now is, based on the definition, based on the characteristic that we had discussed, which among the 6 you belong? Or which among the 6 you are? Sino ka doon? Ano ka doon? So that's the point. There are 2 common spending patterns. 1, habitual spending and impulsive spending. Habitual spending occurs when one spends out of a habit, when one buys the same item daily, weekly, or monthly. Daily items may include water, rice, cup of coffee. Week items may be grocery items. Monthly items are electricity, internet bills. So that is habitual spending. Now, impulsive spending occurs when one mindlessly purchases item that he or she does not need, yung hindi naman kailangan pero binili lang. So many people are often enticed by monthly sales at the malls with the attitude that they may lose the items the following day. Parang tipong bumili ka ng map, hindi mo naman kailangan yung map. Dahil sale, pinili mo. So yun yung impulsive. Okay? Alin kayo doon? Habitual spender or impulsive spender? Okay. Then fixed and variable expenses. May sinasabi natin kaninang fixed and variable. Hindi naman Fixed expenses remain the same year round. Pare-pareho lang. Internet payment, pare-pareho lang. Okay? Kuryente, may chances na magbago-bago. Yung sabi natin, whether it's hot season or cold season. Electric and gas bills are example of this. For example, variable expenses occur regularly, but the amount you pay varies. Okay? So, that's electric and gas bills. So, which expenses are fixed, which are variable? Then, needs and wants. So, financial discipline starts with an ability to recognize whether expenses are needs or wants, and followed by ability to prioritize needs over wants. Needs are essential to our survival. Wants are the things that you would like to have, but you can live without.
Yes.
Such as new clothes or a new cell phone model, you want them, but do not necessarily need them. Parang jowa. Diba? You don't need jowa. Okay? You can live without jowa. But you cannot live without Facebook. Tama? So you need data more than a jowa. Tama ba?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Mabuhay
sir.
mga single! Yes, sir! Taas ang kamay ng mga single tulad ko! Okay. So that's the idea. The difference between the needs and the wants. You remember, sorry, I apologize. I would like to ask sorry. I would like to apologize for not having a thoroughly discussion on philosophies last semester. But one of my favorite philosophy is Epicarianism and hedonism. These are educational philosophy. Let's relate it later on in expenses and in education. Epicarianism is simply believing that what is true and essential are all pleasurable. Meaning, ang totoong bagay lang sa mundo ay lahat ng bagay na nakakapag-provide sa iyo ng pleasure. Yun yung sinasabi ng ng Epicureanism, hedonism, I should say. While Epicureanism is the fear of ataraxia, or fear of pain. Okay? So, if something provides pain, then it's not true. Okay? But if something provides pleasure, then it's true. Sir, ano yun? Punta natin dito sa ganitong klase ng explanation. Explaining hedonism about, pleasure. So, everything that's pleasurable is true.
Yeah.
Masarap kumain ng lobster, tama?
Yes, sir.
Masarap kumain ng paborito mong pagkain. So when you eat something that is your really favorite, then that is hedonistic principle. Because ang totoo lang sa'yo ay pleasure. Okay? May mga tao sa paligid niya, dead man. Sige. This is educational explanation. There are instances that we see sex, yung pakikipagtalik, no? Pakikipag-sex with someone as pleasurable. Tama? So, since
Yes.
sex is pleasurable, therefore, sex is true. Okay. Eating lobster is pleasurable, therefore, lobster is true. Tama? Now, here comes Epicureanism. If it provides pleasure and also provides pain, then therefore it's not true. Sabi nila, ang pagpapakasal daw, ang pag-aasawa, ay not true. Hindi siya tama, hindi siya totoo. Do you believe? Why? Because using the principle of Epicureanism, getting married provides pleasure. Tama?
Yes.
But it also provides pain.
Pain.
Tama? Kasi pag nag-away kayo, painful. So therefore, getting married is not true. Pag na kayo magpakasal. Ha? Another. Eating lobster is pleasurable. Tama? Sarap ng lobster, di ba? Ang sarap ng sugpo. But when the time you crave for lobster and you can't have lobster, then therefore, lobster is not true. Bakit? Kasi gusto mong kumain ngayon ng lobster, wala kang pera, wala kang pambili ng lobster. It provides pain. Bakit? Kasi hindi mo makain yung gusto mo. Tama? So therefore, is lobster true? No, it's not. Alin ang mas totoo? Lobster o skyflakes?
Skyflakes.
Correct. Kasi lobster, gusto mong kumain lobster, wala kang pambili. Nagutom ka na, edi provide pain. Eh yung skyflakes, may 10 piso ka lang, makabili ka ng skyflakes, may laman na yung sikmura mo. Hindi ka nagkaroon ng sakit sa tiyan. Diba? So therefore, skyflakes is true than lobster. Ganda ng logic, di ba? Later on in your review or in future discussion, we'll try to discuss and tackle the different philosophies. Like for example, pragmatism. In terms of pragmatism, you remember pragmatism? Pragmatism by John Dewey simply refers what is true to one cannot be true to all. Okay? Truth varies. Ibig sabihin, iba-iba yung katotohanan. Halimbawa, pagkain ng adobo, my favorite food, adobo. So, kung gusto niyo akong suhulan, alam niyo na papakain sa akin, adobo. Charot. Okay. So, going back, for me, adobo is very good. It's a it's my comfort food. Okay? But for Cristel, maybe adobo is not a comfort food. Bakit? Kasi nung nakakain siya ng adobo, merong bubog. So para sa kanya, hindi masarap ang adobo. Kay Eliza naman, nung kumain siya ng adobo, may sabon, lasang sabon. So therefore, kay Eliza, hindi masarap ang adobo. Mas masarap para sa kanya ang igado. Okay? Igado is lifer for Ilocano, lalo na pag may kasal. Igado is life. Di ba?
Yes.
But that's how we see pragmatism. Truth varies depending on your experiences. Okay? Halimbawa, kay Cedric, I'm not his best teacher. Okay? For Cedric, hindi ko best teacher Sir Petty kasi masamang teacher si Sir Petty. Pero kay Cedric, ang pinakagusto niyang teacher, si Ma'am Rina. Why? Kasi math teacher si Ma'am Rina, tapos major nila. Okay? Pero halimbawa, let's say, sino bang love ako rito? Kay RJ. Ayan, si RJ. Kay RJ, ako ang best teacher niya. Okay? Compared to Ma'am Rina. Okay? Is Cedric wrong? Is RJ wrong? No. Kasi nga, yung totoo sa kanila, iba-iba. Okay? Sir, anong connection yan sa sinasabi mo? The needs and wants. There are things na para kay Cedric, needs. Pero para kay Diomedes, wants. Meron naman mga wants meron naman mga needs kay Diomedes para kay Cedric, wants. So magkaiba sila. So that's how, you see, that's how we take a look on what is need and what is want. Depending on ano ba yung kailangan mo. Ano ba yung gusto mo? And then we say, mali ba siya? Tama ba siya? O like for example, another educational example of application of pragmatism. Cedric is teaching an elementary student. So let's say elementary student. I will say, and he say, okay, color your banana in your activity book. Some say, some draw or some use blue, yellow. Some use green. Some uses red. Some uses black. Some uses brown. Okay, na Cedric? Some uses pink. Okay, now the question is, okay, what is the color of banana? Lloyd will say, sir, it's yellow. Correct. Then Christine Joyce Yema will say, sir, it's green. Correct. Siyempre, pag hindi pa hinog, green, di ba? And then Erica will say, sir, brown. Is Erica wrong? From what is the norm that we observe yellow and green?
No.
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 Sir, paano pag bulok?
O brown. O kaya black.
Black.
Sunog. Black. Ano yung brown na saging? Nilinta.
Yes.
Yes.
Sarap.
O, diba? Ano yung red brown na saging? O, dito ron.
Yes.
Ano yung red na saging? O merong red na saging, may pink na saging. Red and pink na saging ay galing ng Mindanao.
Yes,
The
sir,
point is
meron.
that what is true to you can be false to other, but what is false to other can be what is true to others can be false to you. So therefore, when we specify things, there is no assurance that everything is true, depending on what kind of philosophy we use. Okay? Are we clear? Still, kaya pa? Okay ba yung discussion? Mabilis or sakto lang?
Sakto lang, sir.
Naiintindihan? I hope you're able to understand. I hope I can be able to explain it clearly. So, what are the setting of financial goals? One, setting financial goals is the first step to managing one's financial life. Goals may be short, medium, and long term. So, when we try to have a financial plan, what is our short-term plan? What is our medium plan? And what is our long-term plan? So, halimbawa, sa short-term plan, ayusin ko yung upuan. Gagastos ako ng kahoy, ng pako, ng laborer. Short term man. Then, what is your long term plan? Kailangan ko makapagpatayo ng lupa. So, bibili ako ng lupa and so on. So, these are things that we do. Short-term goals can be measured in weeks and can provide instant gratification and feedback. I will ride on the LRT instead of taxi. So, parang tanimbawa, ano mas maganda? Maglakad na lang ako kaysa mag-tricycle pa ako. Malapit lang naman. Diba? So these are short-term plans. Then, medium-term goals should be accomplished within 1 to 6 months. These goals provide opportunity for reflection and feedback and require discipline and consistency. Halimbawa, pagpapapayat. Ayan. So Cedric, halika na, magpapayat na tayo, anak. Long-term financial goals can take years. Okay? To achieve this include saving money for a down payment, a child's college education, retirement. They may also include paying off a car, student's loan, and credit or debit card. Developing a spending plan. Time and effort are necessary to build a sustainable spending plan. 3 easy steps are proposed below when developing your personal spending plan. Record, so meaning keep a record of what you spend. Second, review, analyze the information and decide what you do. And then take action. Do something about what you have written down. So, importance of saving. Because no one can predict the future with certainty, we need to save money. Okay? Wala naman nakakalam kung anong talagang mangyayari sa future natin. We never know if we can survive this pandemic. Knock on woods, I hope we all survive this pandemic. Diba? One, emergency bolster. You should save money to avoid going debt just to pay emergency situations like unexpected medical expenses and damages caused by calamities or accidents. Okay. Retirement, you will need saving investment to take the place of income. You will no longer receive when you retire. Kaya nga sa insurance, meron doon plano na ano yung plano mo? Para saan yung plano mo? Pang-bahay ba? Pang-kotse ba? Pang-aral ba? Or retirement? Okay? You know, pag nagre-retire, dapat ang retirement pay mo ay 100 or 250% of your annual income. Okay? Kasi imagine pag retire ka na, wala ka ng trabaho. Future events, you need to save for future events like weddings, birthdays, anniversary, and travels, so as not to sacrifice your fixed expenses. Then instability of social security, pensions from social security should only serve as supplementary and not the primary source of income after retirement. So those who would like to, those who are planning to save money, okay, to have some investment, don't hesitate, just call me. Let's make a plan how you will plan your future securely and stable. Okay? There are ways to save. One, save before you spend, and the other one is save after you spend wisely. Wait, let me just answer this question.
Bili po ng saging.
Sino bibili ng saging?
Order to stick
In order
saving
to stick
habit.
to the saving habit, you should commit to a month, find an accountability partner, find a saving role model who is successful with her money through tried and true savings. Write your goal down and track it and avoid tempting situations. So don't go to the mall to hang out. Bawal naman lumabas ngayon, di ba? So financial literacy is the ability to use knowledge and skill to manage one's financial resources effectively for life. And it enables people to understand and apply knowledge and skills to achieve a lifestyle that's financially balanced, sustainable, ethical, and responsible. So one's attitude about money is heavily influenced by the parent's attitude and behavior about money. And standards for developing understanding of financial literacy include earning income, buying goods and services, saving, using credit, financial investing, protecting, and insuring. Therefore, if you want your children, lalo na kayo mga magpapamilya, kayo mag-aasawa, if you want you want your children to learn the importance of saving, be a model to them. Okay? Be a model to them. Pakita nyo yung importansya ng bawat sentimo. Okay? Not to the extent naman na magiging mayamot sila, no? Okay? Na maramot, something like that, no? Hindi naman yung ganun. But definitely, a role model of showing the importance of saving. Na sabi nga nila, mainam ang may tinanim para may aanihin sa panahon ng pangangailangan. Diba? Parang sa kwento ni Langgam at ni Tipaklong. Remember that? Okay. So, are there questions or clarifications?
None, sir.
Violent reactions?
None, sir.
Okay. So, if you don't have
Sir,
yes.
sir, ewan ko kung related siya, pero yung financial crisis ba matatawag yun na financial problem?
What do you mean by financial crisis?
Kunyari po yung sa may mga before po, kunyari sa South Korea pa yung lahat ng mga nila, business nila bumagsak kasi sa Korean War. Ganun po.
We can call it, when we have, in a national scale, we call it recessions. Okay?
Okay, sir.
May problema sa pananalapi, like for example, the income and the expenses of the government. Mas malaki yung naging expenses, mas malaki yung bayad utang rather than sa kinikita ng gobyerno sa pag-maintain ng mga expenses or ng mga kailangan bayarin sa something ganun. When we talk about financial crisis, we are actually facing most of us are facing financial crisis. Pag sinabi natin financial crisis, for example, we can identify financial crisis like wala akong pambili ng bigas next month. Okay? Wala na akong pambili ng bigas, wala na akong pambili ng gatas. Wala kang trabaho. These are considered financial crisis.
Okay po, sir.
Other questions? Clarification? Violent reaction?
Nothing, sir.
Yes, Eliza.
Meron po bang activity? Yung sinabi
Merong activity. Actually, dalawang activity yung bibigay ko kung sakali. For the activity 1 in social literacy, I might ask you to make a campaign video. Okay? I would ask you to make a campaign video about the present social issues that we're having right now. Let me just finalize it. Again, Eliza.
Yes, sir.
Update me. Remind me.
Okay po.
Remind me to make the clear instruction about the financial and social literacy activities. In addition, in advance, I would like to announce that part of your final exam in this subject, you'll have, of course, exam through Google Form. Okay. Second, for PE 14, okay, we will have a virtual intramurals. Okay. We'll have a virtual intramurals in PE 14 as your requirement in PE 14. So in advance, I'm telling you, there are different activities that you will have submit via video. Okay. And there would be cheering competition. Okay.
May Mr. and Miss Intramurals ba, sir?
May
Mr. and Miss Virtual Intramurals?
Pwede rin. Okay, if ever.
Ay, palaban si RJ.
Yan. You know, I had conducted a survey last time about e-survey. Tama? I
yes.
just would like to
Yes,
share
sir.
the
Yes, ma'am.
result
Okay,
of
sir.
my the result of my my survey. Let me just share to you the result of the survey. Ay, hindi, dito na
Sir,
lang.
yan ba yung pinakita mo sa amin nun?
Ha? Yes, Arnel. Naaliw lang ako kasi I'm asking. Ito yung sinasabi nating so sorry. Let me end the recording. Once again, thank you so much. That's the end of class.